You're quite right. Zurich have done some work in AR, which is fantastic. I can confirm that I am real though, here tonight. But we've done some other things actually, which I wasn't going to talk about, but I will actually do a mini plug if that's okay. We've developed a selfie app for our life business called FaceQuote. What it enables you to do is take a selfie, that then calculates your age, and instantly gives you a quote back for life insurance, how much you'd pay on a monthly basis. It's a great app. However, every single person I've spoken to that's done it, it's minus their age. Generally sort of 3 or 4 years. So I thought, brilliant, I'll go and do it. I'm 38, I'll come back, I'm sure it'll be about 35, 34, something like that. Guess what? 44. So I'm certainly not going to use that again. Yes, Tim just did a mini introduction. So Paul Toombs, head of retail SME for Zurich. So I've got responsibility for Zurich's smallest commercial customers. So tradesmen, contractors, right the way up to 50 million turnover manufacturers. I've been in role for about a year or so now, taken over. Previous responsibilities were around our public sector business. But one of the first things that I noticed when I started was we didn't have a commercial combined offering in a digital format out to our customers. So I thought that's not quite right. We need to be able to fix that. A big challenge for us. So I set a challenge to the team. How can we create a digital broker-focused commercial combined offering, get it out to market within 3 months, do it at lower cost than we would have done normally, and develop it in a way in which it really, really worked for our brokers. And normally you can do sort of 1 or 2 of those, can't you? So normally the cost or the time factor comes in, or the complexity, or actually making it work for your customers. So the big challenge was how we were going to do all of those things in one go. We need to think about things differently. We needed to think about how we could work differently and work in a very, very different way. So we went through a procurement process. Some of the members of INSTANDA in this room were involved in that. It's the quickest procurement process I've ever been through. 2 weeks where we went through our initial tender out to the vendors, to their responses, to the presentation, and to the decision. So extremely quickly, and I think that set the pace that we were trying to follow. And in that process, we decided to go with INSTANDA for technology, and a company called 90, who are a social enterprise, for the UX and to support us in some of the roles that we didn't have within Zurich. And if I'm honest, we took a bit of a risk. We hadn't worked with INSTANDA before, but a great pitch, and certainly gave us a lot of confidence in terms of making our decision. So in terms of that approach, we wanted to take an agile test and learn approach, one in which we made sure that the broker was at the heart of what we were doing. Making sure that we could iterate and make sure that we could improve as we were going through. We need to make sure we had high levels of empowerment for our teams, being able to make decisions quickly without having to refer it, without having to use a committee to make decisions as part of it. We broke it down into short sprint cycles, enabling us to develop something, test and learn, get it back out to the broker, and then be able to improve it. And in all of this, we needed to make sure that we weren't adding in any additional complexity, keeping it simple. Insurance companies can overcomplicate things sometimes. It's not about not being sophisticated, but it's about not adding additional complexity where it's not needed. And with all of this, the technology's important. I would definitely say that. You've got to have good technology. But the actual success, I think, was about the people, about working together, about keeping things simple, and about acting as if we were one team. And you've all probably seen an image, something similar like this before, in terms of design and actually what the users then like to go and do afterwards. And I think from our perspective, certainly from a technology perspective, projects can get overcomplicated, especially insurance projects. And you can do a great lot of work in terms of design, and actually the users want to use it in a completely different way to how you designed. So we had to have our users, our brokers, at the heart of what we were doing. So we actually had them in the room with us on day one as part of this project. What I mean day one, actually right at the very beginning as we were kicking off. Where you normally you'd have had that as an internal meeting, you wouldn't have brought anyone else, any other third parties into that meeting. They're in the room, warts and all, to see what we were doing, understand what we were trying to achieve, and to make sure we got the right outcome at the end. And it was really good to get their feedback as we were going through. They were, it was interesting actually. They talked about trying to make it as easy as possible. They then said that if you can make it as easy as possible, it doesn't matter how much it costs, we'll still use it. Knowing brokers, I took that with a bit of a pinch of salt in terms of whether they would still use it if it wasn't competitive. But they fed back on a couple of things that were key about that process. So about being able to find the trade easily, trade selection, one of the biggest concerns they had. They needed to find an easy way for them to be able to select trades. And also from a quote, decline or referral perspective, needed to find a way to be able to tell them early on in that process. They weren't wasting any of their time, any extra amount of their time in terms of going through that quote process. And also just generally make it easy to navigate through the site, make it easy, make my life easier, was absolutely the feedback they were giving. And by taking this approach, we were actually able to create an employer's liability product, quote and buy, be able to produce documentations with rules and rates all working within the first 2 weeks. So they were actually able to go on and give us feedback after just 2 weeks of this project being live. So the pace at the start was absolutely phenomenal, and that helped massively then with the rest of the project in terms of getting that feedback and being able to use that to improve it. So what we're able to build in just 56 working days. So digital quote and buy, as I said, bespoke for the manufacturing and wholesale market. Those covers material damage, business interruption, PL, EL, legal expenses, terrorism, D&O, quick quote within 9 minutes. And for us, being able to put five policies into one and be able to have new electronic digital documentation, mobile system was a massive leap forward from where we were previously, which was fully paper-based. Able to do something around trade selection as well to improve that, so focusing on the areas that the brokers were struggling on the most. And in total, just to give you some numbers, there was 207 questions, 132 different rules as part of this, 105 endorsements, and 12 different pricing modules that all went into it. So though it was quick, it was still quite complex in terms of the build. And that approach has been recognised by the brokers, obviously, that were part of it, but also recognised by the industry as well. So it's won 2 awards, Insurance Times E-Trade Initiative of the Year, and also Product Innovation of the Year for the Underwriting Service Awards from Post Magazine just in the last sort of couple of weeks. I just want to end really on just a couple of quotes that some of the brokers involved in the project gave us really. Your approach is totally different to your competitors. The site was slick, intuitive and good. A really comprehensive site, easy to navigate, fresh. And I suppose most importantly is the one in the bottom right-hand corner. You can tell it's been designed with the assistance of insurance brokers rather than being designed by a computer programmer. There's probably quite a few computer programmers in the room tonight, so it's certainly not being disparaging about computer programmers absolutely playing a vital role and played a vital role on this project. But I suppose the key thing for me is the broker experience, and that's what's come through loudly in this project. Okay, thank you very much.